Ziggy's band, the Spiders from Mars, included Mick Ronson, Trevor Bolder, and Mick Woodmansey. The bold new act shocked conservatives, but there were tens of thousands of teenagers and young adults who were instantly drawn to Ziggy's otherworldliness.
People started to get interested because he looked so strange, different. Ziggy was essentially like a brilliant collage of a lot of different elements. There was a bit of Lindsay Kemp mime stuff, there was a little Warhol, there was some kabuki, and there was a whole lot of David Bowie.
Now Ziggy played guitar.
The rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars proved to be David's breakthrough album. It hit stores on June the 9th, 1972, and went gold soon after.
Ziggy came at the right time. You could feel the buzz in the air. It was like bigger than David, bigger than the band, bigger than the record company. It was almost like something that was meant to be in history.
One of the keys to Ziggy's success was Bowie's complete dedication to his extraterrestrial creation.
I believe in my part all the way down the line, right the way down. But I do play it for all it's worth, because that's the way I do my stage thing. That's part of what Bowie's supposedly all about. I'm an actor.
Bowie's androgynous rock and roll spaceman helped launch the era of glam rock.
In the late 60s and early 70s, everything had become aesthetically quite pedestrian. And you had a lot of bands like Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, who I love, but they looked like farmers. And I think the glam rock people looked at it and said, you know what, let's be glamorous.
It wasn't so much what he was wearing, it was just the feeling he was putting across. You know, it was him, his actual self that was like that, and that's what was so strong.
David was the king, the queen, the prince, whatever you want to call him, of glam. He was its finest hour, its most potent force.
The outrageous nature of Ziggy kept David in the news, and Bowie fed the frenzy with more than just his appearance. When photographer Mick Rock snapped a highly suggestive picture of David and guitarist Mick Ronson, Bowie recognized another chance for star-making publicity.
David said, let's buy a full page in Melody Maker. It was an important shot for David. It was like Pete Townsend smashing the guitar or Jimi Hendrix setting it on fire. And that set the cat among the pigeons very nicely.
Bowie was bigger than ever, and his manager, Tony DeFries, set out to capitalize on David's new fame. In the summer of 1972, DeFries launched Main Man, a management company with Bowie as his star client. David was also becoming known for the songs he wrote and produced for others. His song, All the Young Dudes, was a hit for Mott the Hoople, and the Lou Reed chart-topper Walk on the Wild Side was co-produced by David. In September of 1972, Ziggy Stardust descended on America. Although David wasn't yet a big success in the United States, Tony DeFries felt that if you spent like a star, people would believe you were a star. As a result, more money was going out than was coming in during the American tour.
Everyone was staying at the Plaza, the Beverly Hills Hotel, room service 24 hours a day, roadies getting their underpants laundered, and lunatics were running wild, and no one was saying no.
The hype was maintained, and the bills were being paid with unearned advances that Tony DeFries secured from RCA Records.
I think that was Tony DeFries' genius. He got these guys to okay and cough up all kinds of money for an act that was not making them much money at that point in time.
As the American tour progressed, David began to be put off by his wife Angie's ongoing efforts to direct his career, and their relationship became strained.
She would help organize things, but once the show got to America, it all started to go to another level in terms of the development of what was going on, and I don't know that she ever learned how to handle it that well.
Ziggy's journey across the United States was a critical success, but unchecked spending made the tour a financial disaster. Even so, when Bowie returned to England, he was treated like a conquering hero.
For heaven's sake,
What David's fans didn't know was that their idol had less money in his pockets than they did. But that didn't keep David from indulging in recreational drug use. And David's narcotic of choice was cocaine.
Right at the beginning, there wasn't much of that going on. After America, there started to be a lot more.
As David's cocaine habit escalated, the resulting weight loss combined with mental stress gave rise to the title of his next album, A Lad Insane.
The Lad Insane was, well, I think it was a reflection of what he was going through. It was starting to work on his head, and, some lad, London lad, going off his rocker very slowly, but having an interesting time doing it.
To promote A Lad Insane, Bowie headed off on a 100-day world tour. The first performances were at Radio City Music Hall. During one show, David collapsed on stage.
It was the ultimate in drama because the encore number was Rock and Roll Suicide, and after the song ended, he fell on the floor. He had definitely went unconscious for a while, and then of course the doctors and nurses came and he was fine, but it was scary.
In spite of the incident, David continued his grueling schedule. After completing the US leg of the tour, the band headed to Japan, then on to Russia, and back to England. When Bowie returned home, he learned that A Lad Insane was #1 on the charts. The news should have made him happy, but it didn't. In the midst of all the Ziggy Stardust hype, David Bowie felt he had lost his way.
Still don't know what I was waiting for. Time was running wild. A million dead-end streets. Every time I thought I'd got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet.
All the feedback was coming to Ziggy Stardust. I mean, not to David Jones from Brixton. So he had created this alter ego, and the alter ego took over his entire life.
David continued to play to sold-out houses throughout Great Britain, including London's Hammersmith Odeon, on July the 3rd, 1973. But to the audience's surprise, at the end of the show, the 26-year-old rock star made a startling announcement.
Not only is it the last show of the tour, but it's the last show that we'll ever do. Thank you.
Less than a year and a half after creating Ziggy Stardust, the shock rocker was giving up the character that had brought him fame, and fans were left wondering if David Bowie was just another shooting star who'd burned out before his time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, we love you.